Well, good evening everyone, and welcome to Pictures in the Park again. We hope you have a really wonderful night with us tonight. I wonder if you've heard people say that modern thinking and the scientific method have finally disproved the existence of God. Many people are saying that these days. They say that people used to believe in God in the past, but now that we've gotten smarter and we've developed the scientific method, we know better, and that we've found that there is no good reason to believe in God. They say that we can explain why we exist and where we came from by looking at the Big Bang Theory or the theory of evolution. And so people say we don't need God anymore. They say we're all grown up. We can take care of life, and we can determine why we exist by ourselves, and we can determine what's right and wrong and figure out the meaning of life. But here's a question. Have science and reason really disproved the existence of God? Well, they could be just really good assets by which we can establish with more certainty than ever before that God really exists. Here is a guy by the name of Ravi Zacharias who uses good reason and science to help us establish that we really can have a lot of certainty about the fact that God exists. Have a watch. I'm sure you'll find it interesting.
And it basically boils down to this. There are three steps you take in establishing the existence of God. Now, the person has to listen very carefully because I take them through the three stages. Step number one is this, Jim. However you section physical reality, you take the physical universe as you see it, however you slice it down to its minutest form, the fact of the matter is you end up with a physical entity or quantity that does not have the reason for its existence in itself. Ultimately, the physical universe reduced in any form cannot explain its own origin. It has to find its explanation outside of itself, which means the first explanation of a universe as we see it has to have something that is non-physical as a first cause. So you've got a kind of a haunted universe without knowing what the first cause is. Next you come to the argument for what we call not from design, but to design. And that's what I said. If you walk onto a planet and see a wrapper of a McDonald's hamburger and see letters of an alphabet, you immediately know that there is information there. And logic tells you, Jim, as it tells everybody listening, where you see information, you assume that prior to that information is a mind. You don't just think that Handel's Hallelujah Chorus came together, or that the dictionary developed because of an explosion in a printing press. There is sequence to the whole thing. And if you take, Jim, just the composition of the enzyme in the human component, the enzyme, which is the building block of the gene, and the gene the building block of the cell, the possibility of the human enzyme coming together by random, says Vikram Singhi, professor of applied mathematics at Cardiff in Wales, the possibility of that happening by chance is 1 in 10 to the power of 40,000. That's more than the number of atoms in this universe.
That's amazing.
It is time-wise and mathematically, the possibility is zero. So I say to you, number one, the physical quantity cannot explain itself. Number two, there's intelligibility, which assumes a prior mind. In the first case, there is something non-physical. Second case, there is something intellectual or a mind. And third, in the history of society, human experience, and history itself, you begin to realize that the moral issues, the social issues, and just human intercourse demands the explanation of a moral reality. So you've got a first cause that is spiritual, a first cause that is mind, a first cause that needs to explain morality. You take these three struggles, Jim, and pause with me for a moment here. There are four fundamental questions in life: origin, meaning, morality, and destiny. You take these four questions and these three explanations needed, and only God is big enough to explain this universe.
Well, that was interesting, wasn't it? Did you get what he was saying? That there are just three things that we can look at that point us to the existence of God. Do you remember what they were? The first is the existence of a physical universe. The existence of a physical universe has no reason why it exists within itself. If there was a Big Bang, Where did the stuff that went bang all come from? What was the first cause? Everything comes from somewhere. What we see around us must come from someone who made it. Second, we live in a world that's full of beautiful and complex animals, don't we? Laws and systems that all work perfectly. What is the most logical explanation for this? Is it just slime plus lots of time? Well, it can't be. You see, it's not probable or logical to open up a dictionary, to see all the definitions, to see all the order, to see all the explanations and go, the most logical explanation for the existence of this dictionary must have been a large explosion, plus time and random events. That just simply is not the best logic. And so it is with our universe. And third, we're a people who want justice, don't we? We believe things should be fair, and we get angry when things are not fair. And we don't like it when people get hurt or oppressed. But do you know that that value system, that morality, just doesn't fit with the theory of evolution? Have a think about it. The theory of evolution is based on the survival of the fittest. And so a morality that fits with that system says that we should be glad when the strong oppress the weak. And not just glad, but that we should think it is a good thing because the strong will ultimately weed out the weak and leave us with a stronger society. But that is a morality that just does not sit with us, does it? When we think about our morality, we realize that we're a people who like what's right and wrong, who want things to be fair. That must come from a creator who made this universe, who is moral and just. And so do you see, when we look at the evidences of science and we use good logic, we can see that they, more powerfully than ever before, point us to the fact that there is an existence of God. And more than that, we can look at history and we can see that God himself entered into history in the person of Jesus. Why would you write your name in the clouds for one people in one time and one place to see, when you could enter into your own creation, live among a people, have a biography written about your life to share with everyone who came after? Now, we all believe in Caesar, don't we? But do you realize that there were only 9 or 10 documents that talk about the life of Caesar? And when it comes to Jesus Christ, there are more than 5,000 documents that tell us about his coming, his existence, that he was God, and what he came to do. Now, that is some really good food for thought, isn't it? And you might like to explore that. And let me encourage you to pick up a copy of Luke's biography. Luke was a historian who looked at the evidence of the life of Jesus, who wrote it down in a book. You're welcome to a free copy. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great